Hello and welcome everybody to the UBC Dota Cup. My apologies for the delays. We spent a good amount of time trying to figure the technical issues in the building out, and now we are finally getting into it. Chicken fried rice. This is the highest seeded bracket, I believe. LinGod went 4-0 in the qualifiers, and Chicken Fried Rice went 3-1. So definitely going to be a great game. Joining me is my co-caster Postman.
Hey there, absolutely thrilled to be here on a beautiful rainy day at UBC in British Columbia. Looking forward to these two teams facing off, so let's definitely get it on. Once again, just to reiterate, apologies for the wait for everybody that was sitting in the stream. Definitely appreciate your patronage, and we're hoping to get some good matches for you guys today.
Yeah, it's definitely looking good. So we got all the players connected. It looks like we're going to get underway in just a moment here. All right, so we're into the draft, and there we go. So Chicken Fried Rice is going to be playing on the Dire side, or is that the Radiant? Yeah, that's the Radiant side. Sorry, Chicken Fried Rice is going to be playing on the Radiant side, and our other team, LinGod, they're going to be playing on the Dire, and they do get the first pick, as they were the higher seeded team.
So, I mean, taking a look at the band so far, it's pretty basic stuff. Timbersaw is just overall a pain to deal with, especially if he is going in the off lane. Reactive armor is just way too strong. IO or Wisp for some old school players, anyone pre-last couple patches. No one really just wants to deal with a tether and relocate. It's just way too hard to deal with those kind of ganks. So, yeah, definitely pretty standard bans coming out, and, let's definitely see what the picks around them are.
Yeah, it's looking pretty standard right now. So, getting back to the tournament, how this tournament works, it is a best of one series up until the finals, double elimination. So these teams will be facing off. If they lose one game, they drop down to a loser's bracket, and will have to fight their way back through. If we get to the finals, the team in the loser's bracket will be at a one-game disadvantage. So definitely good to not be dropping these games. Every single bit of every single game matters right now. So getting back to the bans, though, we see a Death Prophet taken out. Another really obnoxious hero, kind of just gets up in your grill and makes you hate life. And the Ember Spirit, it's been kind of debatable about whether or not he is the top pick, but he is a very strong hero regardless.
So taking a look at things right now, we have A being picked, and also Invoker and Nyx. I'm really liking Invoker right now, just because we're definitely going to see a lot of flashy plays coming out, depending on whether he's going Exort or Wex Quas. But A is always a really strong, flexible support pick. Coming out next is Nature's Prophet, so there's definitely going to be a lot of global presence happening with their team. Yeah,
now the one thing that is going to bite them in the ass a little bit as well is that we do have that Nyx assassin, and Nyx is really good for fighting against global strategies because you kind of never know where he is, and he can fight Prophet, he can take Ancient Apparition. I mean, if he finds them, he's going to grab that kill. So it's really just going to be on Nyx to kind of hold that fort down, Invoker to hold back the push that will inevitably come out of this duo, and I think Chicken Fried Rice is in a pretty decent position to deal with what seems to be the strategy from LinGod here.
So let's take a look at the bans right now. Cptn.Canuck, what do you think right now of the bans overall, and who kind of has the advantage right now?
Right now, as it looks, I think Chicken Fried Rice is going to have a lot more of a teamfight presence. Impale is huge, as is Spike Carapace, and Invoker, I mean, just every single one of his spells counts so much. I think right now the way it's looking is LinGod is going to have to work around. They're going to have to work around Chicken Fried Rice. They're going to have to move to the sides. They're going to have to push side lanes, and almost Rat Dota, but not quite like full on Rat. I think it's got to be a little more along the lines of just kind of dodging, holding out, taking fights where they can. But it'll all depend on their carry too, because they have a really good lane they have a really good team for holding out lanes and keeping things pushed back. So if they pick up a really hard farming carry like an anti-mage or something, then they will have a much better time.
Absolutely, but you do bring up a really good point about the Nyx there. I mean, it is going to cause a lot of sort of defensive moves and plays just because of not knowing where he is and the early sort of mind games and tactics that really his presence and on and off the map is really going to have on the other team.
Yeah, now we see a Luna picked up for Chicken Fried Rice, so they got that hard farming carry, and the Dragon Knight is taken by LinGod. Now, Luna is a carry that is pretty susceptible to being taken out by an aggressive tri-lane. It's really hard for her to find a lot of space unless her supports really, really take care of her. And Nyx is not the best for doing that. I mean, he has Impale, which is great, but he is a melee hero, so if he's up against an aggressive try with something along the lines of the Ancient Apparition, with, say, a Rubik, a Shadow Demon, a really anything, it can mean a lot of trouble for her. So we'll see what LinGod does. They are still in a position where they can go aggressive if they'd like to. Dragonet will probably be heading to mid, and Nature's Prophet on that offlane. So with that Shadow Shaman, I'm actually kind of anticipating an aggro try now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm mostly really concerned, or at least looking forward to really seeing Nature's Prophet and A, sort of play off each other and synergize well. Just because, with A being able to set up his ult, and Nature's Prophet, once he gets a couple items going and he has a little bit more DPS going for him, it's going to be absolutely brutal, especially for Luna. If they ward well, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to really try and find space on the map to really get those essential key items that she needs.
Yeah, and right now I'm thinking that for LinGod, the ideal pickup here is the Bristleback. He has not been banned out yet, and he's very popular. If you throw him in an aggressive tri-lane, he works wonders. And right now, the way LinGod's team has shaped up, they look a lot more like they want to push early and push hard. And they have all of the utility that they need to push towers with the Treants, with the Dragon Form, with the Serpent Wards. But they're going to need something to kind of stand up in front and keep Chicken Fried Rice away from the towers and pushing them down. So I think if you go for something a little more early to mid-game oriented, like the Bristleback, you can cause a lot of damage and maybe end this game in the 20 to 30 minute mark.
So taking a look at Chicken Fried Rice's last ban there of the Spectre, I think it was the absolute right choice, kind of the way the team comps are going right now. I think Spectre, to kind of really seal the deal and play kind of the second or even first position there, working with the Nature's Prophet and AA would be absolute hell to work with or work against. I do like the Veno pickup though, just because it's really going to be able to help against, obviously the pushing power of Rasta. Veno, Plague Wards are going to be absolutely great, especially if we are, talking about uphill for anything like mid. We're definitely going to have to see how things execute.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be on Chicken Fried Rice to make sure that their towers don't fall early and that Luna retains some room to farm. And that's going to be on these other three heroes: the Venomancer, the Nyx Assassin, and the Invoker. And of course, Invoker's spells are really good for holding out lanes. You can use Tornado, you can use Ice Wall, you can use Meteor, you can use Deafening Blast, you can use whatever to just clear out those creep waves quickly. Nyx Assassin is going to have to be getting pickoffs constantly to keep these heroes away. But considering that this is looking a little bit more like a 5-man Dota team, it's going to be harder for Nyx to get that out. Venomancer, of course, going to have to drop wards, just try to hold those towers out. And if they can create enough space for Luna to come online, then I think they're in a really good position. But it is going to be on the execution.
So definitely looking at the team comp of Chicken Fried Rice right now, my biggest concern is that they did first pick Invoker. And kind of looking at the comp right now that they have, they really want to kind of buy as much space as possible for Luna, just so that way she can really go into full-blown carry mode. With Invoker, though, one of his biggest downfalls is that he will need levels to really be effective and get, points into Exorc, Wex, or Quas, or even Invoke, if necessary, as far as, how the game is going and how it's trending and sort of the pace of it. But really the name of the game so far for Chicken Fried Rice's team is that they will need to buy time for Luna, especially against, the global presence and the pushing power.
Yeah, and they do pick up the Jakiro, so I like that as well. He's a good hero for holding out waves and just keeping heroes back. Ice Path is fantastic for team fights, and I think CFR has a really good team fight right now. Like I said, I think that LinGod needs something that can really just survive through a team fight, and Juggernaut is definitely that. If he can get in the middle of the fight and he can just get the Omni Slash out and the Blade Fury, he's going to be in a great position to start chunking down some of those squishier heroes like the Veno, the Jakiro, and even the Invoker. So I definitely like this pickup. I think LinGod is really going to have to force this game and push it early. Like I said, knock down towers as quickly as they can. And CFR, it's going to be their job to hold it out. Now, Invoker as well. This mid lane matchup between the Invoker and the Dragon Knight is going to be very, very important. Looks like I've got a bit of a mouse issue here. We'll get that fixed.
For battle.
Every once in a while, my mouse just gives out, and I gotta unplug it and plug it back in. It's a little bit dumb. Come on. There we go. We got the mouse back. All right. So, right off the bat.
All right, so it's looking like they're all moving as a pack right now, probably heading together to ward. They already picked up a smoke, but that's probably going to be for a rotation to mid at a certain point, just because Invoker, as you know, most people are fully aware of, especially if you play Invoker against Invoker, is that he really has no natural escape abilities up until he really gets the necessary points in Ghost Walk, and even then, you know, simple things like Dust and Sentries are going to be able to make him a pretty easy pick-off. So he's really going to have to be aware of the map at all times, obviously, but at the same time, really try and squeeze in as much experience as he can from CS, just because, you know, as stated before, a lot of this, actually, in my opinion, is really going to rest on Invoker and really how he does, how quickly he gets levels, if he's able to, you know, grab any kills here and there. The first level has gone towards Quas, which is definitely saying that he's looking forward to, you know, sitting in lane, having as much regen as possible, and definitely playing, you know, a little bit more conservative and safe as far as, you know, trying to grab levels where possible.
Yeah, and that early point in Quas as well does tell us that he is going to be going towards that Quas Wex. Usually when you go for a Quas Wex, you want your level 2 ability to be that Cold Snap. If you're going for Exort, then having the extra damage in Exort and being able to Sunstrike is what you want at level 2. So generally, if you're going to be playing Quas Exort, you will be picking up a point in Exort to begin with. Quas Wex, you'll be picking up a point in Quas. So that does tell us that he is going to be going for that more teamfight-oriented Quas Wex Invoker, which I believe is the right choice. Now, a point I was wanting to make earlier was that Dragon Knight and Invoker is a really good matchup for Invoker because generally you don't want to leave the lane against a Dragon Knight because if he pops off Elder Dragon form, your tower is done. And, you know, Invoker doesn't really leave the lane much. He can gank if needed, but he's really good at just kind of dominating the lane and farming it up. So it's really going to be, I think it's going to be a good matchup for him. Of course, he does have the range advantage, and Dragon Knight doesn't care too much because of the bonus armor. But at the same time, I mean, every little tick helps.
Actually, one thing to really point out, Cptn.Canuck, is actually the synergy between DK and AA. Really, up until Luna actually gets her BKB, she's definitely going to be the main focus as far as crowd control effects go. So definitely the Dragon Tail with just being a natural long stun time on top of Cold Feet is going to be absolutely brutal if they can sort of isolate her during team fights for that combo. Yeah,
definitely. But of course, Luna is one of the carries that does like to go for that BKB first, and that's probably what we will be seeing this game. So I think the early pressure will really determine how Luna plays this out, because if she can get her BKB uncontested, then I have a feeling that LinGod is going to have a much harder time.
The battle begins.
So taking a look right now at sort of how the map movement's going, it's looking like pretty standard stuff, people covering runes. DK going for the block and going mid as predicted. There seems to be a couple pings going out at top lane right now. It's probably just going for creep blocks and just sort of organizing their trial as best as possible. It's also seeming like Shadow Shaman's beg your pardon, in the bot somebody's picked up a DD, I believe it was Venomancer. Yeah, so he's looking maybe just to try and get as much harass off as possible early on.
Yeah, I do believe that was spotted. Did this ward go up earlier? Yeah, the ward's been up for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think he was definitely spotted on it.
Yeah. And Prophet, is he abandoning lane already? He's looking pretty scared. He's heading over towards the jungle right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think, the beauty of Nature's Prophet is that, as soon as he starts getting a couple levels, he doesn't necessarily have to be restricted to a lane anymore, right? The good part is that if he senses that, there is going to be that real pushback on the bottom lane, he's free to leave it. And I think right now, I believe it's Venomancer and Luna on bottom. There's really not going to be a huge amount of damage. Oh, DK's taking some damage, though.
Yeah, this was what I was talking about. I mean, between the bottle and the regen that Dragon Knight will have, he should be fine against this, but Invoker is going to be able to bully him and keep him out of CS. We got another disconnect from the Jakiro. What unfortunate. Like I said, we were having a lot of network issues heading up to this game, and now things are not looking great. So, yeah, it's... But another thing to point out, too, is this support combo. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here, but with the shackles holding somebody down, I mean, it starts at a almost 3-second duration and goes up to 5 at max level. and so you can get a fully channeled cold feed on somebody. I think even with the level 1 you can manage to do it. So the AA Shadow Shaman is going to be a really nasty duo, especially if they move towards smoke ganging out this Invoker, because he will not even be able to get off a Ghost Walk if that happens.
I think the name of the game for that duo top is just hitting level 2, because when you have the combination of Cold Feet and Chilling Touch plus Shackles and Shadow Shaman's Nuke, it's just going to be absolutely brutal for anyone in lane, and I don't really blame Nyx right now for really playing passive and hugging the tower.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much he can do in this lane. Off-lane Nyx is something I'm not a huge fan of. It works okay, but the biggest problem he has is that, I mean, all you can really do is like walk up to here and wait for someone to attack you and then pop off your Spike Carapace. I mean, it's so passive. You have no way to secure any farm, like, you know, a Clockwork's Rocket Flare. You don't have a Timbersaw's ability to escape or anything. You kind of just have to stay back and hope that the lane pushes up to you. And in this case, it's not, because the Juggernaut's holding it off well and there's stacks and pulling. And, I mean, look at this. Nyx is so far out, he cannot get any experience. He's level 2. He's level 2.5, while the Juggernaut is 3.5. So for an offlaner, that is not good.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely things are looking pretty bad for Nyx, but I think the main trade-off right now is that the aggression that's sort of come with, you know, the lane setup is that Luna does have free farm bottom, which I think is a relatively fair trade-off for Nyx really not having his early game sort of, you know, presence and threat that we were discussing.
Definitely. And considering that there is no opposition in this lane, I actually almost think that sticking to Venomancer on the off lane might be a better choice, and having the Nyx to roam, because he's got a little bit more kill potential than the Venomancer himself. And Veno, I mean, if Veno's right here, he can throw wards up to here with no danger to himself and at least get something out of it. But you know, now the wave gets pulled back to Nyx, and he's going to get himself a little bit of XP. Yeah,
so I think it's definitely going to be a very sort of interesting trade-off right now that they're doing. They're definitely kind of gambling really, really hard right now that Luna's going to be able to farm everything she needs, especially the BKB, as quickly as possible, just for Nyx really sacrificing, you know, anything but a good experience top.
Yeah, and she is doing it. I mean, she's sitting on top of the CS charts now, 20-8, and the Dragon Knight and the Juggernaut following closely behind at 17 apiece, now 18 for the Dragon Knight. Invoker not doing as well in that mid lane as I thought. I mean, it is really hard to last hit with Quas. You don't have a lot of damage, and I mean, you can see right there, he just missed that one because he was just a little bit short on damage, and he does have the phase boots up now to compensate for that. But even so, I mean, missing stuff like that, it's you know, it's just trouble. And I mean, you can see it's reflected on the charts there. The Dragon Knight, who we expected to be taking that lane, is up 4 CS, or taken in that lane. Sorry.
Oh, it's looking like they're engaging right now. Spike's not going to do anything.
Really quick teleport in by the Venomancer, though. He's right on top of that and doesn't do much except shoo the enemy away. So,
I really think that's what needed to happen, though. You were discussing it earlier, Captain, that, you know, Venom really wasn't doing anything in his lane, and there really wasn't a threat for Luna there to just farm. But it seems like DK's got haste. He's coming up right now behind, so we might see an engagement here if he sees an opening.
Yeah, I think once the creep wave gets up to the tower, they're going to go, and it's coming in a couple seconds.
There you go.
There they go. The Juggernaut is spinning on the Nyx. The Shackle is out on the Juggernaut. He's trying to run himself away, and he gets Dragon Tailed and finished off. So 2 kills going the way of LinGod right off the bat, and Chicken Fried Rice eating an early loss. Not something they want to do.
Really, really beautiful execution there. I mean, that's going to go huge amounts of distance as far as, you know, overall, you know, sort of aggression and kind of pacing for this game. I mean, they're going to take this tower no problem. Oh, actually, unless...
Tornado goes out on the Juggernaut. He should be able to get out of this, no problem. Oh my god, a couple auto attacks. And
beautiful!
One shot from the tower follows Juggernaut all the way back and finishes him off. This tower is in deny range. If Invoker has a presence of mind, yeah, he's going to try to deny it. Yeah, nobody's going to be able to get forward. So they're going to manage to deny this tower and pick themselves up a kill, which I think is pretty much the best case scenario that could come out afterwards, or after those couple kills. Luna did trade that for the bottom tier 1 and is still free farming those, so something to watch out for. Oh, Ice Path misses. That could have been ugly.
So it seemed like Luna's decided to invest in Treads and Ring of Basilius. That's definitely going to slow down farm. Do you really think that was, I guess, the best sort of purchasing decision she could have made with the free farm gold and sort of the leniency that she's had in lane?
To be honest, I think she was actually expecting an aggressive lane coming out of LinGod. I mean, when you see these 3 supports, Ancient Apparition isn't always the best tri-lane support because he requires a lot of XP. But Shadow Shaman and Juggernaut themselves are really, really nasty in lane, and the AA just kind of amplifies that. So I think she bought expecting an aggressive lane, getting that early armor up from the Ring of Protection, and then eventually building that into the Basilius. I think that also might be why she didn't go for the Midas, because if she had realized that this lane was going to be this uncontested, I think a Midas would have been in order, because, I mean, that's just more gold in her pockets to come online earlier.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Now, action on the mid lane. Cold Snap going out on the Dragon Knight. One attack is going to miss uphill.
Oh, that's going to proc.
And the Cold Feet is going to proc. Now looking for this. It doesn't last too long, though. Nature's Prophet teleports in, gets the trees, and the Shadow Shaman will secure the kill with that Ether Shock.
That was absolutely beautiful play, beautiful reactions there by everybody, especially Nature's Prophet to come in with that last second sprout there. It was definitely a little bit of a greedy overextension with Invoker, just because he did double back. I mean, really, there's nothing much you can do except either take the Cold Feet or, face tower aggro.
Yeah, the push is coming out here by LinGod. They're really shoving down on this tower hard with the Elder Dragon form up. We do have a TP in from the Invoker, so he's going to try to come back and make something out of this. He throws the Tornado right off the bat, lands the EMP on the Dragon Knight. The Cold Snap is going out. They're chasing him up with a little bit of attack. And oh my god, that Ice Path. I don't know if that hit or if that was a Cold Snap proc, but he does walk away from that alive, so that's good. Now, that Cold Feet that we were talking about there, that Invoker, he really wanted to get that kill on the Dragon Knight. He was standing about here where the Cold Feet proc. Dragon Knight's back here, and he either had one choice. I mean, he couldn't chase it. At that point, that decision was just entirely poor, because if he moves forward, he has no way to get out of that. I mean, he can go down here, but the TPs are going to come in and catch him. So the only option he had was to not throw that auto attack over here and turn back around, just because of that Cold Feet, and AA playing that really well, recognizing when and how he can use that ability without the setup of a stun.
Yeah, definitely with Chicken Fried Rice being able to pick up that one kill at the top there, plus the deny by Invoker was completely negated by the fact that, that was a death that he could have easily avoided if he just made that, right decision.
Yeah. So we got another pause here. Meanwhile, we can check out this Luna, who is going to be able to grab up this Haste Rune. I don't know if she's going to be able to do much with it. Maybe she can run in on the Prophet and pop off an Eclipse or something, but... yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it's really important to note, too, that she is 7, so she's definitely going to have maxed points in Lucid Beam, so kill is no problem.
Yeah. She's looking for it. Prophet dips, ducks, dodges, dives, and ducks, and I'm gone. But yeah, he runs into the trees, and he's going to get out of that.
So it's looking right now that she's still ahead on CS by a pretty good margin, by 12 last hits. DK's still not doing too bad of a job, but he's definitely going to be more ahead just because of those 2 kills, 2 First Blood kills that he had earlier on top there. So I think he's going to be in a lot better position, despite Luna really having nothing to contest them.
Yeah. Now there's a Sentry Ward placed here, but Nyx is up on this high ground. If he comes a little bit too close, and they go. Oh man, that was unfortunate, but the Impale does catch the Dragon Knight. The Cold Snap's out now, and with a couple more auto attacks, they will finish him off. All 5 members of CFR here in the mid lane, but Juggernaut is ready to go on this. He is spinning in, and he's going to get scared as there are 5 people there, and his Blade Fury was about to run out.
It was a pretty wise, decision to back off and retreat there, because if he is going to be throwing out Omni Slash, at the first level, it's only really 3 jumps, I believe, and that's nowhere near enough to kill anyone dispersed between 5 separate targets.
Yeah, I don't believe he actually had the mana. Yeah, he didn't. So he wouldn't have been able to if he wanted. He just wanted to see if he could get out enough damage to finish off the Jakiro or something, but it just wasn't meant to be. And with the fortified TP, they're going to be able to hold this. The Dragon Tail goes out on the Nyx assassin. EMP is dropped, but the Juggernaut goes back in, Blade Fury, and it does get the kill on the Nyx. So picking up a kill there is LinGod, and this engagement in the mid lane is looking to be a little bit tense now, as we have both teams just kind of gearing up, ready to go.
I think right now the thing that Chicken Fried Rice needs to do is just back off, really. I mean, this mid just seems to be a death trap right now, with both teams really vying for control over it, and it's not really working out in their favor.
We do have a shackle out on the Invoker, but it is broken, and the Eclipse is going to pop off. It's not going to finish off anybody. Juggled between 3 different heroes, and now the Nyx is in the middle of all this, but there is a Sentry Ward down. He does manage to break the Cold Feet, but he is still in vision range. He's running himself away. He's going to see if he can get the Vendetta Strike. He will finish off the Shadow Shaman. Meanwhile, the Invoker does fall to the Dragon Knight. Actually, the Kira got the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying. I mean, Chicken Fried Rice is just not seeing success in this mid lane. They need to go out. They need to find, they need to put pressure on other lanes and, give Luna the space that she needs to continue that farm.
Yeah, I think the best course of action back there would have been to just have maybe the Invoker, the Venomancer, and the Jakiro sitting here. Nothing caught there, but sitting back here way behind the tower and just dropping wards, throwing tornadoes, and throwing ice paths. And just trying to stall the lane as much as you possibly can.
I just want to note too how much of an MVP Nature's Prophet was during that fight. Just because he was up on the high ground near the Ancients and he got vision with Sprout, and on top of all that, on top of getting the kill, he actually caught 2 separate heroes within the Sprout as well, effectively, taking him out of the team fight.
Yeah, it was really, really well played by him. We do see a smoke gang coming out here. They're looking through the jungle, and they might be able to find this Prophet who's moving himself up here. They do see him. The tornado goes out. The EMP is dropped, and now they're looking for it. The Gale and a couple more auto attacks, and they do manage to finish off the Nature's Prophet.
Really, really great move there.
Oh, yeah, turnaround coming though. They catch the Jakiro, and oh my god, all those abilities just going to shatter him. Now, the Courier's in the middle of all this, but it's not going to fall. Shadow Shaman just looking to see if he can find someone, and the Nyx is going to be the prime target. He does not have Vendetta, but he does have that Spike Carapace if he needs it. He's going to try to TP away. Are they going to be able to break it? No. He gets out.
I think it was actually a really, really good move there that they went for the smoke, but unfortunately the reactions just were way too quick and they couldn't get away scot-free with that kill on Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, this is something we've been seeing throughout this game, is that we've had really, really quick teleports on the parts of on the parts of both teams, really. They've been really smart about how they move around the map and support their teammates, and it's really making a difference.
Right, so taking a look right now, actually, seems like Nature's Prophet is sitting on a recipe right now. Oh, he just finished up his Midas. That's what he was holding on to there. Still a little bit set back, especially with that death there. So I'm guessing from now on, we're not going to really see too much action from him for a little bit, just because he's going to recoup his losses with that Midas.
Yeah, and he had a really bad early game. I mean, he left and tried to jungle a little bit, but when he came back to the lane, it was pretty much already lost, and he was only really there to eat Lucent Beams. That was all he was really doing. And I mean, a Nature's Prophet with 35 CS at 12 minutes, it's alright, but it's nothing special. You see this Tornado EMP coming out, burns off all of the Dragon Knight's mana, and so he's in a little bit of trouble if they want to go on it. They do have, no, they only have 2 heroes here. I thought they had 3.
I know it's fallen a little bit out of favor, but let's talk a little bit about Soul Ring on Dragon Knight mid. I think, going against Wex Quas Invoker might have been the right call on it, just because of, how terrible DK's natural mana pool is.
Yeah, that is true. It definitely could have been a great pickup. I don't think the EMP has been a problem in the laning phase, though. It's been more as a push. And, I mean, from that point, the Soul Ring helps, but I don't think it's going to really make the difference in that situation. It looks like they went on the Juggernaut here, but he does manage to get himself out with a good spin. Now, TPing in, they do catch the Nyx, but he does manage to break Cold Feet right at the end of that, trying to TP out, but he gets turned into a chicken and finished off. So the Nature's Prophet does secure that kill, and we're looking at a 4 to 8 kill score here, 13 minutes and 48 seconds into this game.
Yeah, once again, I mean, it's just them really just making good reactionary plays. They're definitely all over the map. They're definitely using their presence, their global presence as much as possible and using it to their advantage. And right now it's really hard for Chicken Fried Rice just to find any sort of momentum, any sort of really kills that aren't going to cost them anything and sort of put them back in the black, as per se.
Yeah, now Dragon Knight moving up towards this, and yeah, okay, so now they have, the Luna is in the midst of all this. She's going to try to break down the Serpent Wards. Serpent Wards are ridiculous because you can't attack move them. They are like the least prioritized target. Oh my god. Ice Blast going to come in. Dish out a lot of damage. This Venomancer is going to fall, but he does manage to get his ultimate off in time. The Shadow Shaman falls in return, and the Invoker going to die within the Sprout from the Nature's Prophet. Now Dragon Tail going out on the Twin-Headed Dragon, and he gets dropped. 3 heroes down for 1, and pressure down on this tier 1 tower. It is going to fall. Nyx Assassin in the midst of all this with the Luna. Going to try to make something out of this. Luna almost dead, and the Impale just a little bit too late. One more auto attack from the Prophet finishes him off. Now Nyx looking for that kill on Prophet, but he might get himself away. Those phase boots are going to keep him moving quick enough that he might be able to do it. Oh my god, that Sprout was so close to not locking them both in together.
Yeah, that was definitely risky plays there, but I mean, he did what he had to make the escape, and luckily it worked out for him. I mean, at this point right now, even though they are ahead in the, they're ahead in kills, I think Nature's Prophet, the main sort of goal he has right now is just to not give up any more unnecessary deaths.
Yeah, and I'm definitely liking LinGod's position now. They've taken out all the tier 1 towers, and now have access to kind of this section of the map, which is really where Luna's going to want to be farming. And so it really limits her ability to gain gold as we continue on in this game. Now, she's starting to work towards that Black King bar, but if the pressure continues to come as it has, it might be really, really difficult for her to find that.
Yeah, most definitely. It's looking like we got a smoke coming out right now, LinGod. They seem to be moving through. Actually, they seem to be just saying, hey, let's just hit him straight in mid right now. All right, so they're going to move to engage.
They have the Chilling Touch up, and Dragon Knight does have a Shadow Blade, so he can leave this off and initiate without being spotted out by the Dust Breaking. Now he's going to walk forward, and he finds the THD, stuns him up right off the bat, and Jakiro falls first and foremost in that fight. Now the Omni Slash coming out on the Invoker, looking for him. He is going to get out of that with a Ghost Walk. Now Juggernaut in a little bit of trouble, but he's going to get out of that. Oh man, that Impale just barely catches him, but I think he's going to be able to walk away. That Healing Ward doing work right now. They need to throw one attack at that.
That sprout was actually really, really good. It kind of really cut off the main point that they really wanted to chase on. And knowing that Cold Feet was going to proc very, very soon, they just decided to back off. And I think it was really the right call for Chicken Fried Rice.
Yeah, definitely. Something a lot of people don't quite think about is that you don't have to use Sprout exclusively to lock somebody in. I mean, if you're being chased out this way, you can throw a Sprout right here, and it forces them to have to walk all the way around. It can cause a lot of hell, especially in tight choke points like this.
Alrighty, so it's looking like Nature's Prophet's just going back to doing what he's doing. It seems like he has completed a mech, though, so that's definitely going to make him a little bit more of a prevalent force during team fights. Not really so much in terms of DPS, but in terms of, just really supporting his team as much as possible and letting DK and Juggernaut really dish out the damage.
Yeah, and the Nature's Prophet has picked up a Belt of Strength, which I have a feeling will be turned into a Necronomicon. So he's going to be looking for a little bit of split pushing action, but he's also going to want to be in team fights because of that mechanism. So he's kind of trying to do both roles, which can work in some situations, but at other times, it can put you in a position where you're a little bit too weak to push as hard as you'd like, or a little bit too weak to come in full-on team fight. So we'll have to see how that works out for him. Now, Roche was being pinged out here, so it looks like this is going to happen for LinGod as soon as this game gets back underway.
So let's really just kind of discuss right now what Chicken Fried Rice has to do to sort of swing the momentum, swing the entire game sort of progression right now in their favor, or at least get back equal ground with LinGod. What do you think they can do, Canuck, right now to really kind of recoup these losses and sort of get out of this disadvantageous spot?
I think they need to get themselves a really smart team fight. A lot of their team fights have been coming as they've been pressured into their towers, and it's a matter of one hero walking up a little bit too far, getting dragon-tailed, or Shadow Shum catching someone with a shackle or something. Like it's always been the fact that they've gotten kind of taken out of their element. They're missing something in that team fight. So I think if they can back it up to a tier 3, not go too aggressive with defending their tier 2s. Do what they can, but don't care too much. Like the Jakiro was a perfect example of what I was talking about, those pickoffs. But I think if they can back up to a high ground, take a really good team fight with the Invoker landing a great combo with the... he doesn't have any points in Exort, so he can't throw out that Deafening Blast yet, but Tornado, EMP, all of that, if he can manage to get it off and they manage to take a nice team fight, a Macro Pyre, a nice path, and a good Impale up on this high ground, then I think they'll be in a much better position. But right now, with the openness of the map, they've been having a real hard time fighting up against this global presence team.
It might be column A, column B, but it definitely seems like either Chicken Fried Rice just hasn't been able to find the ideal sort of positioning for their team fights, or LinGod's just absolutely playing fantastic, and they know that Tornado and EMP is on Invoker, and kind of protecting their really limited mana pools on their heroes.
Yeah, that is true. They've been really smart about how they take these fights and stuff, and I mean, Dragon Knight allows you to do this because you can kind of just get up in front of your team and start knocking down towers, and you force the enemy team to come at you. I mean, he's taking tower hits right now just to keep the stacks of the Corrosive Breath up on that tower now. Oh my god, Juggernaut jumps forward and finishes off the Venomancer. It's
beautiful!
It lands on both. The Nature's Prophet teleports forward, catches the Jakiro off in the Sprout. He's going to turn around and throw an Ice Path, but it is not enough. He falls. 2 down for absolutely nothing there. And there's pressure on the tier 2.
So, I mean, right now with the way things are going, being double, in kills, even with Luna, being able to find the spacing on the map, she unfortunately is still going to be short on the recipe for BKB, and the pressure is really just going to be bottlenecking and piling up right now against Chicken Fried Rice.
Yeah, the Fortify will be used here, but I don't know if they can hold this. I mean, the Jakiro has just come back up, so it will be 5-on-5 if the engagement comes out. But, I mean, a couple of spells just thrown out there by the Invoker. Those won't be available if the fight turns in the next 30 seconds or so. And they cleared out for now, but LinGod doing about half that tower's health and damage and can do it all again in only a few minutes.
I think you can definitely sense, Invoker's sort of frustrations here, just kind of in the last 2 attempts that he's had. It's been really long-range tornadoes, and they're just being easily sidestepped.
Yeah. Now, Nyx is spotted here, and we do have the Dragon Knight coming in from behind.
Oh,
man. He did not know he was visible, and he gets popped in a matter of seconds. Oof.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of dumb luck, really, just sitting right on top of a Sentry Ward. I mean, doesn't get it really any worse than that for an Invis hero.
No, exactly. It's pretty brutal. Now, this Lunacy, something I'd like to make a comment on is, I mean, she has had free farm pretty much the whole game. And I mean, she's been in a couple team fights down to the tier 1 here. She was up in mid. But, I mean, the Dragon Knight, he's been a hero that's been in almost every single team fight. And, the Juggernaut, pretty much the same. He's been, actively fighting with his team whenever they pressure these towers. And, they're only about 20 behind this Luna. I feel like she should have a much bigger gap at this stage of the game, and just not coming together.
I really think that whole mid sort of segment and excursions that they had back and forth, they're really trying to take their T1s, really set Luna back, and basically canceled out, the advantage that she had early on of complete free farm. I mean, as you can see right now, I mean, she's basically just trying to work towards getting her one main core item. And it's already 21 minutes in, and, a lot of map control has already been lost towards Chicken Fried Rice.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's getting to a point where...
it is that point where, will BKB really be that turning point for him, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of physical damage on the side of LinGod as well. I mean, the Serpent Wards will of course dish their damage right through that BKB. Dragon Knight, all of his damage is through his auto attacks, and I do believe the Corrosive Breath will tick through BKB as well. And Nature's Prophet, Juggernaut, all that it's not a lot that BKB will provide.
And you also got to really keep in mind too, and something to think about that Juggernaut pick as well is that, that was absolute slaughter right there. Yeah, one thing I was going to mention about the Juggernaut pick is that even if Luna does get her BKB up, Omni Slash is still going to go through that BKB.
Yeah. Oh my god, this damage. And these are these pickoffs that I was talking about, is that every time CFR has geared up to defend something, it's been 1 or 2 pickoffs out front. You saw the Invoker fall, and the Yakira falls slightly inside the base, and from there, it's, they just can't defend. And the buybacks are coming out. There's 4 heroes up, ready to fight, and the Aegis does get popped on the Juggernaut, but, I mean, by the time all that happens, barracks are gone, and those buybacks are almost essentially worthless. I mean, it keeps LinGod from pushing further, maybe trying to take another Rax or something, but I don't know if they could have in the first place.
And I think, that's one of the things also, kind of a good tell of a well-coordinated team. By LinGod there, they took the Rax, they lost the Aegis, so basically no heroes were lost on their side, and they just left immediately. They backed right away. I mean, a lot of the things that you'll usually see with a lot of amateur teams or a lot of HUD play is that they'll really push and get greedy for it, but, they backed off and they knew they already got what they came for.
Yeah. It's really true. Now I full BKB up on the Dragon Knight. I mean, I'd actually like to switch to the net worth graph now, because that's a lot more telling at this stage in the game than the last hits. Because even though the Luna is on top of the last hit score, she is below the Dragon Knight, the Juggernaut, and the Nature's Prophet in terms of net worth. Actually, we have a little bit of downtime here. Let's take a peek at the graphs and look at what it's looking like. And this has just been pickoff after pickoff after pickoff, and you can kind of see the slight dip every single time that LinGod has taken one of these fights. And they're about 14,000 ahead in terms of gold. EMP Tornado coming down on that Dragon Knight. He pops off the Black King Bar, and he's just going to go for it. He's chunking away the health of the Invoker. He's going to force staff himself away, but that Shadow Blade, the Dragon Knight walks himself right out, and that Sprout, really nice, catches him out.
Absolutely amazing sprouts by Nature's Prophet. I really do have to commend him. I mean, he was playing at a disadvantage earlier on, but the beauty of it is that, no matter how far you are in gold, or how far you are behind in gold and levels, you're still Nature's Prophet with a Midas, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can bounce back from pretty much anything. It's kind of like a Doom in that regard, where you just kind of always have golden XP regardless of how bad the situation is. And I mean, you can see that in both of these heroes' games, is that no matter how hard they get shut down, they find farm because their abilities and the nature of their hero allows them to do that.
It's basically a fountain of reliable gold, more or less. Oh
yeah. Oh, Ice Blast. I gotta say the AA as well has been spot on. Every time a gank has come, he has led up with that Ice Blast. He's had it mid-air by the time the stun or the sprout or the shackle comes out, and he's been really smart about their maneuvering on the map. And now we're going to see a tier 2 fall. No contesting on this. They're just going to back up and try to take a fight at their tier 3.
I think they're just going to go for the racks, and unfortunately there's really nothing they can do. I mean, Nyx is down for another 15 seconds, and this is just going to be way too much push power for them to deal with.
Yeah, now the EMP Tornado does land on 3, but the Blade Fury is going to make him magic immune, so he's not going to take any damage from that. And with another pick off from Jakiro, Tower's going to drop, and likely the racks to follow.
I feel like this is a GG call coming up.
Yeah, what? Where did Juggernaut die? Oh, he got a little greedy, man. He went a little bit too deep, a little bit too hard, but gave his team the room to start chucking away these racks. Fortification is going to come out, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, racks fall. Impale, Lucid Beam comes out on the Dragonite. They're going to try to make this happen, but Creep's eating a lot of those Eclipse bounces, almost all of them, in fact. They do manage to get the Shadow Shaman, and now looking for the Dragonite. They will finish him off as well. They do lose the Venomancer in the midst of that fight, but I don't know if it matters. Nyx trying to run away. He just falls to the Ancient Apparition. They're going to get a kill on him, but with the Nature's Prophet ulti coming in, finishes off that Invoker. So 3 for 3, actually 3 for 4, the Dragonite bought back. But the racks do go down, and there's only one set remaining.
I think really for the last 26 minutes here, that was really LinGod's first big mistake. I mean, and even that in regards to Chicken Fried Rice's sort of positioning right now and sort of where they are in the game and amount of towers and racks is down. It's not even really that big of a blunder. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, 26 minutes in really just to get a little bit greedy, just to give up a couple unnecessary deaths, but ultimately take your second lane. I think it's by far not the worst mistake you can make.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was on the Juggernaut being too far up, like down here and dying. I mean, if he was just back with his team chunking away at these racks, I don't think that team fight could have happened the way it did.
Absolutely, it was definitely a polar opposite of when they took bot lane, when they just sort of got the racks, they knew what they were coming for, and then they backed off immediately. It was definitely a lot of bloodlust there.
Yeah, it's true.
Double damage.
So 26 minutes in, and we've got 2 sets of racks down. Roshan is back up, and it looks like we got a Treant coming to scout that out. So we'll probably see a Rosh and then a push for mid, and that might be GG there.
It's commendable that Chicken Fried Rice, hasn't conceded yet, with one lane still remaining. And it's really just kind of banking and gambling on that one big team fight, where everything really goes their way. But at this point, I'd like to kind of discuss it. I mean, is that really even enough to turn it around, even if they went for a full team wipe? Do they have, the pushing power, and can they avoid, the buybacks that are, obviously going to show up for it?
Yeah, I really don't think they do, and especially with a Nature's Prophet on the board, I mean, even if you do manage to get that perfect team fight and you start to push, I mean, the second you leave your base, Prophet's going to be in here knocking down tier 4s. It's a lose-lose scenario pretty much no matter what. You can't really leave your base at this point, even if you do get a good fight. The only thing that they could possibly do is get enough good fights that they can hold this game out until like 40, 50 minutes where the timers are ridiculous. Luna gets a rapier and they just go.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I think right now, LinGod's going to let it go nowhere past, maybe the next 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, I think, with that Roshan, they're heading towards mid right now. And the Prophet's following in shortly behind. But, with the Necro Creeps, with the Treants, with the Serpent Wards, I think even with the good team fight, they're going to take considerable damage to their buildings and maybe even lose these last racks. And once melee creeps, or once mega creeps are up, what do? You do not have the damage to deal with mega creeps right now.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Unfortunately, that's just, damned if you do, damned if you don't, between a rock and a hard place right now for Chicken Fried Rice.
Yeah. And, that a lot of how these team fights have been playing out has come down to these two heroes right here. Dragonite, obviously a very... It is core on him to get a Black King Bar. You need a Black King Bar on him. And, of course, the Blade Dance, the Blade Fury. the Blade Fury on the Juggernaut will keep him alive through all the magic. And I mean, a lot of what CFR has is magic. I mean, man, look at that Omni Slash catches
full-blown man mode.
Now the Juggernaut is going deep, but he's got the Aegis, so it doesn't quite matter. Dragonite standing underneath 2 tier 4s, fighting this up, and the Macropyre is down, dishing out a little bit of damage here. Juggernaut's still chasing down that Jakiro. Might finish him off. The buyback comes out from Luna. She's going to come back up, maybe try to make some of this, but I don't know if that's going to happen, man.
I think that's it right there. And the GG's come out. And unfortunately, I'd like to say that this was an even match all the way through, but LinGod, executed perfectly. I mean, really only 1 or 2 mistakes that I can really name off the top of my head, but otherwise played fantastic by both teams. But unfortunately, LinGod executed a little bit more flawlessly.
Yeah, it was really well played, and it just came down to those intelligent pickoffs and smart pushing on the side of LinGod. Like I said, there was quite a few incidents where CFR just got one hero caught out, and it meant that they couldn't fight, and they lost tower after tower after tower, and eventually LinGod cracked them. So that was game 1 of the UBC Cup. We had another game going on right now, Muko versus Magic Pigeons. I'm not sure of the result on that, but I'll find that out and update you guys in a moment. But for now, LinGod will be moving forward to I think this is the semifinal round. Yeah, they'll be moving on to the semifinal round while Chicken Fried Rice drops down to the losers bracket to face whoever lost between Muko and Magic Pigeon. So we'll get you guys an update in a second, but thank you guys for watching, and we will be back in just a few moments here with some more UBC Dota Cup action.